And let's finish the 11th chapter of The Key to the Indian by Lynne Reid Banks. The Snake Charmer. Amr and Gyan have been turned into puppets, or rather, the puppets turned into them since they are really alive. They were being used in a performance, and somebody saw that they were really alive. He nodded as he played, as if to say, "I know why you're doing this. You're a good boy. Go on." And Omri, as if the music moved his body without his own will, began to dance again. It was beautiful what happened to him then. He became a dancer. He had never danced in his life except jiggling about to pop music, and now he danced, really danced. He felt no inhibition, no restraint, and his body behaved as if it had always done this. He lost the stiffness, and his movements became more and more free, more and more in tune with the weird little thread of music that seemed to weave itself right through him like his own sinews, and command him just as much as the puppet strings had 2 hours before. At one moment he became aware that he was not alone, that Gyan was moving about near him, but basically Omri was lost in his own somewhat deeply private experience. It was so intense that he lost all fear, all apprehension of what might result from what he was doing. He forgot who he was. He swayed, he jumped and twisted his arms and hands and feet into strange exotic postures. He felt quite crazy with sheer physical happiness, as if he had suddenly found he could fly. And then the music stopped, and it was over. Omri sank down onto the stage, completely exhausted, and things started to hit him. He came to himself, back to a realization of where he was and what he was. He was small and surrounded by giants, and they were all throwing things at him. He curled up instinctively and covered his head with his arms. Then the little boy snatched him up and held him and hugged and kissed him, and the things that were being thrown bounced off the stage and hit the boy's legs, and he kept stooping to snatch them up and tuck them into his loincloth because they were coins. Omri, dazed and bewildered, looking down, saw that other things were launching on the stage. Rings, bracelets. There was a deafening noise of applause and shouting. The little girl was kissing Gyan, kissing her brother, kissing Omri. The big merchant had recovered himself. Though dazed and bewildered, he was embracing the two children by the shoulders, smiling and bowing, taking the credit. He handed the chimes to the boy and bent down and started scooping up the money and jewelry. At that moment, Omri saw Jothi, Matt's servant, forcing her way to the front of the hysterical crowd. She was crying and tearing her hair. She reached up and grabbed both the children quite roughly and shook them, and slapped them both, one with each hand, and then grabbed them and hauled them off the stage. The boy dropped some of the coins he'd picked up, but he held on to the chimes. Jothi flung the girl over her shoulder, holding the boy in her arm, holding the boy by the arm, and dragged them both off at full speed and through the throng. And Omri? Omri felt himself falling as the boy was pulled off the stage. By his angry mother, he dropped him. In the crush and chaos, nobody seemed to notice. And quick, as though Omri rolled into a merciful darkness, and quick as thought, Omri rolled into the merciful darkness under the stage. If he could have seen what was happening to Gyan, he would have had more than himself to worry about. Gyan was dangling perilously by one leg from the tiny hand of the little girl, who herself was hanging head down over her mother's back. And as the trio pushed through the crowd, the mother delivered a last exasperated slap on the child's bottom, which loosened her shaky grip on her doll. Gyan fell head first to the ground. And that is the end of chapter 11.